Linda umgameri asipromisa ukuthi government izo intervene sizothola usizo. Siyabonga Comrade Gwen. Comrade Gwen sibonga ukuthi ufikile la eMpumalanga. Izolo besikhuluma ngoComrade Gersibande. Sithe uComrade Gersibande was not an accidental leader. Angazanga nje alida a mistake. The same applies to you, Comrade Gwen. You are not an accidental leader. Abanye ipolitiki yabo bayithola ka CNA nase exclusive book nase Pepe bayithola ka Sowetan. Abanye ipolitiki, not Comrade Gwen. Comrade Gwen ipolitiki yakhe uyithole ku Comrade Winnie Madikizela Mandela, uyithole ku President Mandela naku Oliver Tambo nabo Albertina Sisulu. Comrade Gwen is not only a seasoned politician, but a cadre shared by values of the African National Congress and grounded in the lived realities of our communities. She was part of the United Democratic Front, a formation that stood at the forefront of resistance against apartheid regime. Comrade Gwen served in many structures of the ANC and was deployed in all three spheres of government: executive mayor of Tshwane, MEC of health, and deputy minister of health before being elected to a current position of TG in 2022. Comrades, Comrade Gwen needs no introduction, especially to us here in Mpumalanga, as she was our convener of NEC deployees from 2017 to 2022. Bonile chairperson no secretary wasenkangala bakhona la Kangala region ayiye phinde sibona uchairperson no secretary wasenhlazeni enhlazeni ayiye la kusekhaya la chairperson no secretary kufuneka babe khona futhi bakhona. Gersibande, are you here? Gersibande, are you here? Comrade Gwen, province ikhona la Mpumalanga. Are you ready for Comrade TG? Are you ready for Comrade TG? Angilive kahle Mpumalanga, are you ready for Comrade Gwen? Comrade TG, please come and address us.
Amandla ngawethu enhlanzeni, are you here? Is Bushbuckridge here? Mbombela, Ngomazi, Tabachwehu. Long live Ehlanzeni, long live. Is Ngangala here? Emalahleni, J.S. Moroka, Tambisile Hani, Victor Kanye, Emma Kazini, and Steve Trade. No, Sibande, are you here? I can't hear you. Sibande, are you here? Ne Albert Lutuli, Dipali Seng, Pixley Kaseme, Govan Mbeki, Lekwa, Mkondo, Msukalikwa. Comrades, I'm happy to be in Mpumalanga. I consider the province of Mpumalanga as my province and my home, having spent many years working with you, building organization, building unity, and I am really inspired that you have held to the unity that I left when I was the convener of the NECs in this province. Please keep up that good spirit, that working together we can do more. That unity is sacrosanct. I want to thank and appreciate the role played by the PEC, the current PEC, under the leadership of Comrade Mandla Ndlovu, Comrade Speedy Mashilo, Comrade Chirwa as a provincial secretary, Comrade Mpumi as a deputy secretary, and Comrade Nsib. I would want to also acknowledge that we have the convener of the NEC currently amongst us, Comrade Joe Pasha, and I know he's doing a good job to ensure that this province remains strong, a strong ANC province, and make sure that we claw back the setbacks that we have suffered in the previous elections, and that for the coming elections, that we will also ensure that we don't govern with others, but we govern with a majority in all our municipalities. Thank you very much, Comrade Joe Patla. I also want to acknowledge my fellow NEC members who are the children of Mpumalanga who are also here. Comrade Tembisi Melani, who's also a Minister of Human Settlements, as well as Comrade Ronald Lamula, who is a Minister of International Relations, DERCO. We say to them that their work make us proud and make us to love Mpumalanga more, because Mpumalanga keeps on giving us national leaders that make profound progress and profound impact and put our country ahead and on shoulder to shoulder with other countries and protect our sovereignty whilst advancing the lives of our people for the better. We specifically encourage Comrade Lamula as he is at the forefront of ensuring that South Africa is not bullied and that South Africa is not disrespected by foreign representatives and diplomats, and that South Africa puts the interest of its people ahead and respects other nations and advances a better Africa and a better world. It is important, comrades, that when we move around, especially globally, and in Africa, we know that our people in the villages and in the townships and in the farms are understanding that the struggle continues, and we will need to come back to you to say it is time to defend our sovereignty, it is time to defend our country and to fight yet again. It is not just news, it is the reality that we are facing, that we must defend the progress that we've made and the gains of our democracy. I also want to acknowledge amongst us, as I've acknowledged the rest of the PEC members, the RECs from all regions, including the host region, the ANC Veterans League, the ANC Women's League, the ANC Youth League, and our Umkhonto weSizwe Liberation War veterans who have just emerged from their national conference. We wish you strength and also commit to work with you to ensure that we honor the contribution that you have made, because indeed our democracy and our freedom was not free. I want to also acknowledge amongst us the Revolutionary Alliance, the SACP, with whom we are engaging to ensure that they remember that the SACP has played an important role to build the African National Congress as a broad movement, a parliament of the people and a liberation movement, and that they should consider and reconsider their position of contesting the African National Congress, because it remains their African National Congress, and we call on them to strengthen the ANC other than to contest it. We also acknowledge COSATU, which is a federation that is ensuring that our people, the workers of our country, have their interests as well as their rights protected. We have made great progress with COSATU to protect and defend the rights of workers, and this province has been at the forefront thereof with the leadership of Comrade Kartsibande, Pixley Kaseme, and others since then. We also acknowledge SAMCO, Yabahlali, and that together with this Revolutionary Alliance, we must forge ahead and ensure that we defend this democracy and win back the trust of our people, which must be translated by how we perform in the local government elections that are due to take place this year. The Progressive Youth Alliance, SASCO, COSAS, and YCL, UPKOSI, and the House of Traditional Leaders led by Kosi Mukwena, the chaplaincy of the ANC, and faith-based leaders, Ndaden Tati, and the others, comrades, compatriots, fellow citizens of South Africa, residents of our beautiful province of Mpumalanga, the progressive forces of Africa and of the world, members of the media. We bring warm revolutionary greetings and best wishes from the ANC National Executive Committee for this year, 2026. The ANC convened in the Northwest early this year to deliberate on the options of priorities and to determine what we must absolutely focus on in this year of 2026. Today, it is to reiterate here in Mpumalanga what these priorities are, and to ask you and to plead with you to go and study these priorities that were revealed and unveiled by President Cyril Ramaphosa for us to understand how we forge ahead together, how we serve society better, and how we advance the national democratic revolution. We gather here in the heartland of Secunda, within the Sibande region of Mpumalanga, to mark the historic milestone of the 114th anniversary of the founding of the ANC. Indeed, on the 8th January 1912, the ANC was birthed at an epoch-making conference at the Vaihoek Wesleyan Church in Mangaung, and established as a national movement to unite African people in particular and the nation in general as a weapon of struggle for the liberation of the oppressed who had been robbed of their land and denied their basic human rights. On this historic occasion, we pay tribute to the warriors, the founders, the freedom fighters who made supreme sacrifices, sacrificing life and limb during the long journey to freedom and democracy. We salute our warrior kings, queens, and chiefs who opposed colonial rule, who opposed apartheid and the then Bantustan system, which was also fought here in Mpumalanga successfully. Just weeks ago, as we have said, our president unveiled the NEC January 8 Statement 2026 and declared this year as a year of decisive action to fix local government and to transform the economy for the better. Today we are here to bring you this message and priorities that must guide our work as the people's movement as we advance our mission to build a more just society at the service of our communities, our people, and our nation. We gather in Secunda, a town that not only houses the world's second largest liquefaction coal to oil plant, but also is a tourist and leisure city as the seat of the Govan-Beki local municipality. The municipalities in this district are named after gallant freedom fighters within the ANC and the Revolutionary Alliance, and we are also here to call on their spirits of courage, of discipline, of selfless service to our people to prevail upon us, their movement, as we advance the renewal agenda of indeed the ANC and our society. On this historic occasion, we pay tribute to the giants who refuse to watch when their people are shackled by the apartheid regime. They must inspire us that we should not watch when we are threatened by poverty, by inequality, and also by geopolitical tensions that from time to time challenges us. Comrade Dr. Pixley Sakaseme, after whom one of the local municipalities is named, is a founding and past president of the ANC who established the South African Natives Farmers Union in 1912 to enable black land ownership in Dagaskral, here in Mpumalanga. His vision for the regeneration of Africa remains our guiding star. Comrade Gert Sibande, Wabasband, the Lion of the East, was the organizer of the first Workers' Association in 1930s to challenge the exploitation of the rural masses. He worked alongside Ruth First and Harry Numalo to expose the brutal condition on Bethel potato farms. His resilience and courage during the 1956 treason trial against apartheid, remains a beacon of inspiration for our nation today. Chief Albert Luthuli, also after whom one of the municipalities is named, is Isitwalando Seaparangwe, and a Nobel Peace Prize laureate for human rights, who was a traditional leader, a teacher, and indeed a president of the African National Congress from 1952 until his assassination in 1967, which has just been confirmed a few months ago during the inquest around his death. In his honor, and in honor of all those that have contributed to the protection of the rights of all workers of our country, we must ensure that we strengthen COSATU, we strengthen COSATU affiliates to focus on the quality of life of our workers and also the working conditions. We are aware that many mines, including here in Mpumalanga, are indeed shedding jobs and recalibrating the rights and also wages of workers. We must remain vigilant because these rights were not easily gotten. It was a struggle. We salute also the African intellectual Comrade Gwen Mbeki, fondly known as Ramokgopa, whose commitment to the alliance of workers and peasants is the foundation of our work in this municipality. A dedicated teacher as well, a journalist and a Rivonia trialist, Mbeki insisted that the struggle for national liberation must take the peasantry and all workers seriously. His work is cementing and must inspire us to cement the tripartite alliance, and that his work should remain the guiding, should remain to guide our efforts to build a front, a formidable front to fight against poverty and inequality in our country. This year, we will also be approaching the 70th anniversary of 1956 March of Women to the Union Building. Let us be reminded by what O.R. Tambo, our longest-serving president, said to the women during his leadership. He encouraged women not to wait to be invited into the struggle, because the struggle was too heavy for men alone. So we call on women to stand up and indeed fight for the future of their children, both boys and girls, so that in their lifetime there must be equality that is achieved across racial groups, ensuring that those that black children who are left behind, who are also vulnerable to malnutrition and other difficulties, that in our lifetime, as we celebrate the 70th anniversary, that we ensure that we move with greater speed in fighting all these challenges that stand before us and building a non-sexist South Africa. The women of our country have made us proud, and amongst others are young people. As this year we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1976 student uprising, we also take this opportunity to salute young lions of our struggle for freedom and democracy. The generation of 1976 injected agency and renewed dynamism into the liberation movement. This is the generation that said, enough with apartheid, it will end here. They drew a line in the sand, and the songs were also very intentional. Some of them very specific, including singing that Kusasa ekuseni sizokhulula Mandela, and that is how determined these young revolutionaries were. We call upon that generation of the 76 and the 80s not to stand back, but to stand up and continue to dedicate their time as adults to the renewal of our movement and the ongoing struggle to complete the unfinished mission of the national liberation and transformation of South Africa into a truly national democratic society. We say the struggle continues. Many of this generation are what they refer to as the black diamonds, this bulge, black middle strata, which is in business, who are professionals, and who must never forget that we are still few. Many are still left behind. We still need their contributions. We further call upon today's generation of youth to define its mission in this new phase of struggle and organize effectively to become the principal agents of social and economic transformation. The struggle continues. We must carry forward the undying spirit of Comrade Nokuthula Simelane, a young student activist and Umkhonto weSizwe Liberation War operative whose sacrifice in the 80s is immortalized in the Bethel Cultural Precinct here in Mpumalanga. The movement celebrates today's heroes from this province and throughout the country who continue to make us proud on the national and global scale. We also contribute, we pay tribute to young people from other different sectors of society that puts the name of this province and the name of South Africa high in other fields. Amongst others, Shalom Lebaking from Malelane, Nkomazi local municipality, a talented young golfer who represented the province at the 2025 Presidential Golf Challenge. We struggle and also do sports. We struggle and also learn and acquire skills. We struggle and also contribute in many other fields, including in business and the economy overall. Let us identify these young people so that they are encouraged indeed to advance their own country. Uzoyithola kanjani? Uhleli khoneni? All these patriots from the 1912 until now occupy a special place in the National Roll of Honor of pioneers for freedom and also pioneers in other fields, and who continue make us proud as South Africans, and that we should rally around and support the national dialogue to be a success, representing all the sectors of our society. Comrades, this year of 30 years since the Constitution was adopted since the transition into democracy, also presents us with challenges but also with opportunities. The Constitution is a birth certificate of our nation, as our President Cyril Ramaphosa, who led its adoption, presented in Northwest. It defines and shapes who we are and aspire to become. We therefore call on all South Africans to celebrate this achievement as a living document recognized globally amongst many as the best instrument to build a cohesive nation. 30 years ago, President Nelson Mandela signed this constitution of the Republic of South Africa into law in Sharpeville on the 10th of December 1996, which is considered now as the International Human Rights Day. Through this constitution, the people of South Africa declared for all our country and the world to know that we, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of the past and honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land. I will refer you to the Constitution. These days, it's even better. We can always, wherever we are, download the Constitution and go through it. We must treat the Constitution like a Quran or a Bible, so that we know it, we know its different chapters, so that we are empowered by it, and it can be a pillar for us to contribute to our nation building and ensuring that our nation becomes proud and is uplifted. The Constitution also talks about the principle of redress. It recognizes that it would not take 30 years to redress the oppression and exploitation of the past 300 years. We have made significant progress, however, there is still much more to be done. And the Constitution says there must be progressive realization of the rights that are in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, for every citizen. It lays the foundation for a democratic and open society in which the government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. The Constitution aims also to build a united democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. Comrades, I'm not going to go through all the principles, but I have asked you to ensure that each one of us must be a true patriot and know our Constitution from page 1 to the last page. It will empower us not to be despondent. It would encourage us to do more and to contribute more to nation building. This year also is critical in that we are faced with a geopolitical environment that requires us to remember that the ANC has always been Pan-African and internationalist in outlook. Across the world, the values of democracy, equality, equity, inclusion, human rights, human solidarity, gender equality, and social justice are under attack. The fundamental assertion of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that, I quote, the inherent dignity and the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace of the world, close quote. This fundamental assertion is under threat. This attack seeks to delegitimize any government that aims to redress inequalities. The sin of Venezuela is that they wanted to use their natural resources to build a shared prosperity for their nation and their people. The attacks that are happening, including in other African countries, like in Nigeria, as well as the threats that are continuous to the genocide that is unfolding in Palestine. All these require that we remember that we are because others are. These are the values that that enabled the Nobel Peace Prize Committee in 1961 to offer such prize to Chief Albert Luthuli, our president. When accepting such, Chief Luthuli said, I quote, "Our cause is the cause of the liberation of the people who are denied freedom. Only on this basis can the peace of Africa and the world be firmly founded. Our cause is the cause of equality between nations and peoples. Only thus can the brotherhood, also sisterhood of men and humanity be firmly established," close quote. The vast majority of South Africans are indeed of global humanity, and indeed the global humanity embrace these values of freedom, equality, and non-racialism, non-sexism, and human solidarity. The aim of other countries who want to take us back into those dark years, pre-wars, aim to undermine constitutional democracy of our country and also of other countries. They employ multifaceted tactics, including funding NGOs that account to them and not to us, the people of South Africa, to weaken our democracy, to demonize the African National Congress and progressive forces, and to instigate discontent with our own democracy. Part of what they use is propaganda of blatant falsehoods, such as claims that there is white genocide in our country, so that they can attract sympathy and solidarity from global racist movements and individuals. On the other hand, they also form and fund political parties designed to fragment the motive forces of change. They are targeting also communities that we all live in. They are targeting also the members of the African National Congress to be discouraged. We must not yield to these tactics and propagandists which aim to reverse the gains of our democracy. Given these challenges, comrades, the current conjuncture demands that we build the broadest united front to defend, to consolidate, and to advance the national democratic revolution, to advance our constitutional democracy and status as a sovereign country in the family of nations. We must defend, consolidate, and advance the Constitution and the institutions of our constitutional democracy and ensure that they work for all South Africans. It is our democracy and our revolutionary duty to defend women's rights, the war on gender-based violence and femicide, and the building of a non-sexist South Africa must be part of these endeavors. We are required to defend, consolidate, and advance the rights of young men and women to education, skills, training, jobs, and economic opportunities. However, we must also recognize that our own weaknesses and failures in service delivery, governance, the slow pace of economic growth, and high levels of unemployment have demoralized and alienated many individuals and communities. We cannot blame our people if they question whether our democracy or constitution or economy and indeed the ANC and the alliance really work for them. It is these weaknesses that must be subject of our renewal agenda as we close the distance between the ANC and the people. We depend on you as our branches, as our volunteers, to always be with the people, understand the people's needs, and demand of the leadership at the branch, at the region, at the province, and at the national level to respond to the day-to-day needs of our people. There are 6 tasks in this year of fixing local government and transforming our economy. The first one is fixing local government and improving basic services. Those municipalities that do not have a clean audit must strive to ensure that they respond to the matters of emphasis and the matters that are raised in the audit reports. It is possible. Let us appoint those that have skills, and let us work with institutions such as the DBSA to capacitate those municipalities that cannot attract the skills that they require. The time of sending back infrastructure funds must come to an end when the roads are full of potholes, when the water infrastructure and electricity infrastructure needs to be improved. There must not be any money that is referred back to National Treasury whilst our communities need it to improve local services. We must also make sure that there is no one who can be assisted through our indigent services and indigent policies that does not get access to free water and free electricity. It is also important that we acknowledge that we have gone beyond the era of load shedding. However, we must also guard against load reduction because it makes our people frustrated. We do not have load shedding. We have defeated load shedding. Let us also defeat load reduction. We are aware that in many areas, as we build dams and we improve infrastructure for water and sanitation, there's still a long way to go. We need to speed up these programs and infrastructure development services to ensure that the progress we've made in improving access to water, sanitation, and electricity, and also tarred roads is not reversed. We do not only call on those councillors alone. We also call on the provincial government and national government through the district development model to ensure that our municipalities serve our people better and to ensure that the economies that are there, especially from natural resources like mines and so forth and agriculture, that they are unlocked. These resources are unlocked to advance the lives of our people. The district development model was initiated to also help speed up local economic transformation and ensuring inclusive growth and job creation. South Africa, like many African countries, is rich in resources, endowed with wealth that needs to be unlocked. We must focus on how we move from being workers and miners to being mine owners and farm owners. There are many positive stories in this regard in our country, but these stories are too few. I trust that by the end of this year, of fixing local government and transforming our economy, we will be able to say the broad-based black economic empowerment policy and law has advanced many, many more black people into the mainstream of the economy. The third priority is waging a war on crime and corruption, GBVF, as a national and being classified as a national disaster. We want to thank President Ramokgopa. Since he came to office, he has put specific attention on dealing with the scourge of GBVF, gender-based violence and femicide. During the COVID pandemic, he declared COVID also as an epidemic in our country. And now, legally, GBVF has been classified as a national disaster. It would mean that all of us in our wards, in our regions, and at the provincial and national level, we need to translate this declaration of GBVF or classification of GBVF as a national disaster into the daily experiences of women and children. In terms of crime and corruption, we are watching with horror the Mpumalanga Commission and the ad hoc committee in Parliament. It is unbelievable that there are those that were intent to enrich themselves at the expense of the safety and security of our people. It is important that we have organizations or organs of people's power to oversee how our police stations work and serve our people, identify weaknesses and raise this so that we can be able to tackle this scourge of crime and corruption, both in the justice system wherever it happens, as well as in our communities. Our streets must be safe, and our workplaces must also be safe. The ANC has taken a decision that those that involve themselves in crime and corruption must face these charges alone and not drag the ANC with them. We have a code of conduct that we sign as members of the ANC. Our step-aside policy is to enable us to distance ourselves and send a zero-tolerance posture and message against crime, corruption, GBVF, and those malfeasances. It is possible to win the war. We must work together. The fourth priority is building a South Africa that belongs to all through the national dialogue and the 30th anniversary of the Constitution, which I have already presented. The national dialogue process will come to Mpumalanga. It must find Mpumalanga ready to make a contribution and ensure that indeed this process builds our nation, builds cohesion and advances us both in terms of services as well as in terms of socio-economic transformation. We must, on the fifth priority, make organizational renewal visible and irreversible. Throughout the presentation of the past four priorities, we have been calling on our members, calling on our structures. We must go beyond that, and I trust that next year, this day, the incoming PEC will also be giving awards to branches that are making us proud. There must be provincial awards for the various categories, so that even those that have not made it at national, they should also be recognized that they are making an effort. Renewal must be visible and irreversible. We must not look at a pothole until it becomes a bathroom. We must not look at water running down the road or sewer until it becomes a rivulet. As members of the African National Congress and also the mass democratic leaders and members of the mass democratic movement, it is us that must make those that were before us proud. There is no one else. Our country depends on us. Our people depend on us. We have reflected on building a better Africa and a better world. I'm encouraged that we will be at the Africa Minerals in Durban, in Cape Town, starting on the 8th, which is tomorrow. We need to also have those Indabas here to understand how the future of South Africa is interconnected with the future of the region. We applaud National for signing with the Afrexim Bank, which is an import and export. Other nations are asking South Africans, what can we buy from you? We must focus on trading what we have. The fruits that we have, we should export them as fruit juices. We must beneficiate. The minerals we have, the coal we must transform into oil. We must beneficiate the gold, the chrome, the manganese, and the PGM mineral resources that we have. Cannot just go out of our country as dust and have jobs created elsewhere. As Africa, South Africa included, we must be the next economic giant alongside the Chinas and other countries. It is possible, we are endowed. Our strategy for inclusive growth includes accelerating infrastructure investment, and for the first time, there is over R1 trillion of budget for infrastructure. We must also have a forward-looking industrial policy, improved service delivery, land reform, transformative spatial planning, black economic empowerment, supportive macroeconomic policies. Growth must drive radical social and economic transformation through the redistribution of wealth and opportunities. After 15 years of low growth, we are seeing green shoots or signs that the economy is approaching a turning point. Projections indicate that disciplined implementation of the ANC 10-point economic action plan, we can meet our target. We must go and study this economic plan and localize it in the Mpumalanga context and ensure that province, the national and local government work together. Our investment philosophy must be coherent and transformative. And this is what a developmental state must lead us. We must also enable private sector investment in national infrastructure revitalization through diverse financing mechanisms, whilst maintaining strategic state ownership and effective regulatory control. We must not sell the assets of the people, but we must make the assets of the people available for private sector to invest and unlock the opportunities through very strict regulatory framework and time-bound. The ANC has remained steadfast in the defense of our economy. In conclusion, the task 3 of waging war against crime and corruption, I have dealt with it. Visible and irreversible organizational renewal, we have dealt with it. We call on all of us to remember that it is only when we become the best we can be that we achieve progress that benefits everyone else. The Soplaki Award for Best Performing ANC Branch, as I've indicated, is available this year, so that next year we have more branches participating. We didn't have anyone from Mpumalanga. The Charlotte Maxeke Award for Best Performing ANC Women's League Branch also is available. And I want to say to women that are here that we see you, we see your dedication, and Siti Malibongwe. The Anton Lembede Award for Best Performing ANC Youth League Branch also is available. And we say, roar, young lions, roar. Let us see you with the work that you do in your organization and in society. The ZK Matthews Best Performing ANC Local Council and Caucus are also available this year. We must prepare now. Amongst the winners for 2025, we want to congratulate one of your own, the Nkangala District Municipality here in Mpumalanga. It took the first place in recognition for good performance, receiving unqualified audit outcomes with no findings, and with effective internal controls, the full utilization of the infrastructure and other grants to aid service delivery. I think we should ululate and whistle to congratulate Nkangala District Municipality. Hala hala Nkangala, hala hala. Comrades, we dip our revolutionary banners as we remember those that have passed on in the year 2025. Amongst them, our erstwhile Deputy President, who was also the chairperson here, Ndate Didi Mabuza. We also recognize that in the past year we lost Isitwalandwe Siaparangwe, May Gertrude Shope, our President Sam Nujoma of SWAPO, and Namibia, former President of Vietnam, Truong Tangiang, former Secretary General of Frelimo, Feliciano Gundana, former Prime Minister of Angola, Fernando da Piedade dos Santos, former U.S. Congress Charles Rangel, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, His Holiness Pope Francis, and many others. But we also want to take this moment, comrades, to also remember that this province has suffered the outcome of climate change.